Rain has been speaking to the cottage windows for a long time now. Not loudly, just a steady, patient sound against the glass. Soft enough that you could almost mistake it for silence if you were not listening. Inside, a single lamp keeps a small circle of warm light on a wooden table. Beyond that circle, the room holds its gentle dark. Shelves wait with ordinary things. The day world has already gone home. The hallway is empty of hurry, and the only visitors left are the ones who came here to rest. You do not have to do anything here. You do not have to remember the day. If your eyes want to close, they may. I will speak slowly. The rain will continue, and nothing urgent will be asked of you tonight. This is a quiet place for quiet stories. Soft lore about rooms that prefer care to noise. Told the way someone might tell it if they were sitting near you, with no need to prove anything. There will be no sudden turns, no demand that you stay alert. Only rain, wood, warm light, and a voice that does not mind if you drift away in the middle of a sentence. So settle, if you can. Let your shoulders drop. Let the next breath be a little longer than the last. We are already inside. The night outside is only weather. The quiet corners, if they are near, are only company. If you look around, or if you only imagine looking around, you will notice how much of a small house at night is made for stillness. Thick walls, or simple timber that does not argue with the weather. A floor that has learned the weight of ordinary steps. Windows small enough to gather rain and soften the night beyond them, the way a hand cups water and does not spill it. The air smells faintly of wood and of rooms kept carefully for people who did not need to shout to be understood. It is not a sharp smell. It is the kind that belongs to kitchens after the plates are put away, and to tables that have held both work and rest. Somewhere in the building's memory, a door once closed gently, and the sound was enough. Outside, the rain draws thin silver lines down the glass. The night beyond is deep charcoal, soft at the edges, more like a blanket than a stage. If there are distant lights, they are only small gold points, blurred by water, with no demand that you read them. Inside, the lamp on the table is the true sun of this small world. Its light is warm and limited, which is a kindness. Unlimited light asks too much of the eyes. A small circle is enough. There may be an empty chair drawn near the table, left by someone who meant to return, and then decided the rain was a better companion. There may be a folded cloth that will not be needed tonight. There may be a broom resting against a wall, ordinary, finished, forgiven. Soft evidence that people have been gentle here. If your mind is still carrying the noise of the day, you can set it down on the table beside the lamp. You do not have to organize it. You do not have to solve it. This room has held heavier weather than one ordinary evening, and it is still standing. Notice, too, how little the room asks of your face. No one is waiting for your reaction. No screen is brightening to pull you forward. The only flicker is the lamp, and even that is steady enough to trust. In a world that often rewards alertness, this is a small permission slip written in amber light. You may become less available now. The walls are cool if you imagine touching them. enough to startle. Cool the way wood and plaster are cool. Patient, older than your lists, willing to hold the night without complaint. The rain continues its long letter on the glass. You do not need to answer it. Listening is enough. Somewhere a timber may tick once, and then think better of it. These are not interruptions. They are proof that the building is a living shelter, warming itself the way a body does in sleep, automatically, without drama. Listen again to the rain. It has not changed its mind. It will keep its steady conversation with the glass while we stay. And if, far beyond the walls, the soft night continues its larger quiet, let it be only company. Sound, not a task. A large dark friend that does not need you to keep watch. There is a story told about rooms like this, not as a warning, and not as a claim that must be proven, only as something the night seems willing to hold. It is said that some households keep soft company of a particular kind. Not loud, not dramatic. Simply the idea that care can continue after people have gone to rest. In the soft tellings from many places, people speak of ordinary night care. A corner left a little neater. A tool returned to its place. A floor that feels less burdened by the day. The stories are gentle. They sound like good manners practiced quietly, without a show. People who tell the tales sometimes use different names in different lands. Quiet keepers of the kitchen in one set of stories. House care of law in another. Soft habits of the ordinary. What matters is not the catalogue of names. What matters is the habit at the centre. Tidy without fuss. Help without demand. Care without a stage. You do not need to believe in anything unusual. You only need to believe that a room can feel kinder when someone has put things back without making a show of it. That is the calm heart of it. A corner can rest. A day can end without a perfect score. Care can exist without applause tonight. In one telling, a traveller once stepped into a small kitchen after rain and felt a strange relief. Not because they needed rescuing, but because the room looked ready for rest. A cup set carefully, a chair pushed in, a broom leaning as if it too had finished its work. Predictable gentleness is a kind of lullaby for the mind. It says, the next moment will resemble this one. You may soften. If this were a different kind of story, someone might invent urgency or a night of trouble. Here, we can call it a habit of belonging made soft enough for sleep. The room stays kind because someone, over and over, chose to treat ordinary care as something that does not need an audience. You can pretend, if you like, that such care rests somewhere in this room now, not as a mystery to solve, only as a shape of calm. You do not need to tidy anything. Knowing the night can hold order without urgency is already a kind of company. Like knowing a blanket is at the foot of the bed, even when you are not cold. There is another turn to the story, quieter than the first. It says that such care never meant to impress anyone. It simply preferred a house that could breathe at the end of a day. Some tellers speak of it the way gardeners speak of soil, not because it answers in words, but because care sounds better when it is spoken softly. A version of the tale mentions a corner near the window where rain light made the floor look almost silver at forever between perfect order and rest in a single night. The story allowed temporary stops, temporary stillness, a hand allowed to put the day down and still be a careful hand. Some people, hearing this, imagine many rooms, kitchen, hallway, a quiet landing above the stairs. Others imagine only one table, one lamp, and a broom resting like a friend who has finished talking. Whether those details are true does not matter much. Sleep does not require footnotes. It requires a path that does not jab the nerves. And if, somewhere in the lore of quiet houses, soft care is still practicing its one gentle trick, making less of the day without making a scene, then it is doing what we are doing now, returning again and again to a motion soft enough to rest beside. Let that story rest for a moment. You can keep it if it feels warm in your hands. You can set it down if your mind has already begun to soften around the edges. Either way, return with me to the room as it is. Let that story rest for a moment. You can keep it if it feels warm in your hands. You can set it down if your mind has already begun to soften around the edges. Either way, return with me to the room as it is. The lamp is still making its small gold island on the table. The rain is still writing the same long letter on the glass. The walls have not moved. They do not need to. Movement is not the only proof that something is alive. Patience is another. If your eyes have closed, keep them closed. If they are half open, that is fine too. There is no test at the end of this hour. There is only the continuing rain and the next soft story waiting in the quiet, about a cup left out for kindness and rest that does not need a contract. You do not have to keep watch tonight. Something careful was left neat before you arrived. That is enough. Near the quieter end of the table, past the first empty chair, before the shelves become a soft wall of ordinary jars and cloth, there is a place where small offerings of manners used to live. Also, the second story says. Some nights, if you stand there now in imagination, you can almost invent the quiet of them. A cup set carefully, a little milk or water in the old tellings. Nothing grand, nothing demanded, only the shape of welcome. The tale belongs to people who understood that not every kindness needs to be the size of a festival. The great feasts have their work. The ordinary evening has another. At the end of careful days, a cup might be left, not as payment under threat, but as soft manners, the way a porch light is left for someone arriving late. And those who walked past later, under a hood of tired thoughts, or only the patient rain, sometimes said the house felt less alone. Less alone in this telling is not a crowd. It is a clearance of fear. Tomorrow's chores can wait. Tomorrow's lists can wait on a shelf. Tonight the table holds only itself, and a little soft shadow that does not mind being there, and the soft tick of a building settling. It was not a rule written in large letters. It was a habit. Leave a little kindness for the night. Cover what needs covering. Then go where a lamp cup makes a circle the size of 2 open hands. The cup does not need your eyes to stay orderly in the dark. It has done this many nights. It knows how to rest. People who saw such things did not always stop. Sometimes seeing was enough. They would stand under an overhang of quiet, shake rain from their sleeves in the mind only, and feel their breath lengthen, because the room had decided, for a few hours, not to ask anything of them. That is a quiet kind of magic, not the kind that rearranges storms, the kind that rearranges hurry into something smaller. In one version of the tale, a young person once asked why anyone left a cup if no one would drink it in a way that could be measured. An elder answered, without making a speech of it, because manners are not only for the people who are watching. In another version, there is no young person and no elder, only the cup and the rain, and the simple fact of welcome that does not keep score. What matters is not the exact century or the exact custom. What matters is the decision, repeated until it became part of the room's weather. Offer rest. Not for legend, not for bargain, for the possibility of one tired person sitting down with empty hands.
Of course, stories grow soft edges when told for years. Some say a note was left once on a table near the window on a night of especially patient rain. A few words about the nearest warm place to wait, written in a hand that did not try to be elegant. Some say later generations continued the habit of looking at a quiet kitchen corner and feeling relief without knowing the first reason. The way people inherit a recipe and keep making it because the house smells right when they do. If you want a moral, it can be simple. You do not need to carry every unfinished task into the dark. A cup can be empty of hurry and still be complete. A mind can set down its cargo and still be itself in the morning. And if no one passes the table tonight, it still holds its quiet shape for the person who left it carefully. Rest, even unnoticed, steadies the room. Rest steadies the night. So let the quiet cottage glow in your mind for a moment. Small lamp island, shelves a soft colour, rain silver on small glass. Then walk with me, if you like, away from the farthest doorway and back toward the deeper quiet of one chair, where the table lamp continues its own soft duty. The two kinds of care do not compete. One greets the long night of unfinished work. One keeps company in the near quiet. Between them, a person can cross from the weather of the day into rest. Above the table, if shadow is still practicing its slow fold over the wood grain, it does not mind the smaller lamp nearby. Care has room for more than one scale, a room for the long dark, a niche of gold for the near dark, a voice for the mind that is ready to set the day down. You can imagine a door closed gently, not locked against the world in anger, only closed the way a book is closed when the chapter is enough for tonight. The rain remains outside, still speaking. You remain inside, still aloud. If a thought arrives about unfinished lists, let it hang its coat on a peg of patience and wait. The peg is patient. The list can stay unfinished. The house, in the story, never asked anyone to earn the night first. If you are still with me, even softly, we can take a slow walk through the quiet house. There is no place you must reach in a hurry. The walk itself can be a resting place if we do it in imagination only, one quiet step at a time.
Underfoot, the floor is smooth, where ordinary days have travelled the same path from table to glass. Your steps, if you invent them, can be slower than usual. There is no one behind you asking you to hurry. The sill, if there is a sill, is cool and steady under a hand that can rest lightly. At the glass, the rain becomes a closer companion, still patient, still writing its silver lines. That is a lovely balance. Weather outside, shelter around you, voice nearby. Many of the best nights in a life are made of exactly that triangle. You might pause where the pane shows only soft night and water-beaded glass. You do not need to see a horizon. Knowing the night is large is enough. Knowing you are not required to manage it is better. These rooms were shaped by people who kept simple care and did it without drama. You can borrow that posture now. Hold one simple task. Breathe. If you imagine a short step farther, only in the mind, past a broom resting by the wall, you may see or invent a corner that does not need to be claimed. Tidy without fuss, kind without speech. Then turn back. Returning is part of the comfort. In sleep stories, we do not leave you on long, empty walks. We bring you home to the same chair, the same circle of gold, the same patient weather. On the way back, you may pass shelves the colour of old tea and soft wood. You may pass a doorway that leads only to more quiet. Sit again if you like. The chair remembers how to hold a person who has set down their day. Let your hands rest open or closed. Both are correct. Let your jaw soften by a single degree. That degree is enough to begin. The stories can settle now, the way dust settles into the softest places when no one is measuring it, not as neglect, but as peace. Helpers who tidy, not frighten, a cup left for kindness. You can keep them as you keep a smooth stone from a quiet shore, not because you must explain them, but because they feel steady in the pocket of the mind. Around you, the quiet cottage continues its night work of simply existing. Walls hold, windows receive the rain, the lamp spends its light carefully. None of these things demand applause. They are reliable in the way sleep wants the world to be reliable. No sudden rearrangements, no tests, no raised voices. If your thoughts still wander, you do not have to catch them. Let them wander the quiet rooms without you. They will tire eventually and find a corner. You can stay here, in the warm circle, breathing at the pace of rain. There is nothing you failed to finish by resting. There is nothing you must earn before the next breath. The day can remain outside with its wet path and unfinished lists. This room was made for the opposite of urgency. You do not have to keep watch. The soft helpers, if they rest in the story only, rest without needing your hand. The corners, if they wait in gentle order, wait without needing your eyes. Your only task, if you want one, is to let the shoulders drop another fraction and allow the next breath to be uncounted. I will speak less now. The rain will take the larger share of the sound. If words continue in your head after mine thin out, let them be soft ones. Window, table, only the feeling of rain remaining, and perhaps a soft, tidy corner that means nothing more urgent than the night was kept, and so were you. Rest well. The quiet cottage will keep